MG Rob back with you again. Now, I just got back and getting the big old mop cut off my head, so I can actually keep my hair out of my eyes. And today I thought I would officially introduce the channel to Project GINSU, my V8 conversion MGBGT. Now I know I've already done a couple little videos on some fabrication, but today I thought I would actually just do a quick little overview of the car. Now later on I'll probably get into more detail about what's actually been done to the car, because there is a lot to actually talk about to update you to where the car is at now, because it has been a 3-year process to get the car to where it's at right now. And I've got roughly 550 hours in it so far. So let's take a look. So what I have here is a 1971, best year ever, year I was born, MGBGT. This was a fairly rusty car. This was originally purchased by a good friend of mine as a project, and then after really getting into it and just trying to go find another parts car, the parts car we found ended up being the better basis for the project he was building. And then he got sick with cancer and signed the title over to me as partial payment for finishing up the other project. And he wanted to be a part of this project, but obviously that's not happened. So I've used this car as the basis for the project, which in my book officially makes him a part of the project. So what I have here is an LS1 with the T56 6-speed manual transmission out of a 2002 Trans Am. And this motor is supposed to have 35,000 miles on it. I've been holding on to this motor in the corner of the garage for about 10 years now to do this project. Now the car has been widened 2.5 inches with all the extra width put in here on both sides so as to retain factory windshield, because one thing I wanted for this project was I did not want to have to get custom glass made, because that can be very expensive. Now I wanted also to retain the factory heater, because that's such an integral part of the look of the MGB engine compartment. So I have probably 50 hours in the firewall alone just trying to get the engine as far back as I can and retain the heater. So the back of the engine block is roughly 2 inches further back than the stock B series would have been originally from the factory, which does put the front of the engine just I forget exactly how much, but just about 1 inch further forward, something like that, than the stock engine would have been. But the firewall here has been heavily modified. Not one panel has not been changed in order to get it, and it's further back in the car. This portion of the firewall is back 1/2 inch within the structure of the car, where this lower portion here is 1 inch further back. And of course I got handmade header there, long tube tri-Y header. And I also ended up lengthening the wheelbase a little bit on the car, 3 inches. Partly because I got this BMW E36 chassis IRS underneath of it, and I did need that extra length for the trailing arms and the mounting boxes there to actually fit within that area there. but also I'm still planning on putting about 4.5 inch flares all the way around this. So it's going to be about a foot wider than stock. And being that wide, I wanted a couple extra inches of wheelbase to settle the car down a little bit at speed when I'm doing track days with it. So what I did was I put 1.25 inches here, and then the rest of it's back in the C-pillar. So the idea is that once it's all together, if you weren't really paying close attention, you may not notice the modifications, because the A pillar, B pillar, and C pillar are still all within scale of each other. And here I put the BMW rear suspension in. I'm widening the car the 2.5 inches, put my rails here pretty much exactly the same width as the BMW rear suspension, or the BMW rear rails were, making it a lot easier to integrate everything in. So these rails are pretty much all handmade, and then I blended in the shock towers from the BMW into the MG wheel wells. And then of course the BMW cross members, which I took out the spare tire well and made it straight, and then made a front section across here to bring that up to the same floor height as the MG was, because that originally went down underneath the rear seat of the BMW. And then up in here, I just blended everything together. Tried to make it look as factory clean as I could make it. And the thing that I was working on last was this cross member, which is going to run into these box tubing here, run through the rockers. And then the roll cage is going to sit on top of all that and tie everything together. I really want to get back onto this car again. It has been way too long since I've worked on it. My Autocrosser over there has just taken so much more time to get back onto the track and prep for paint than I expected it was going to be. And I really want to get back onto this thing and start making something happen. There's lots of fabrication already involved in this car and lots more to go. So there's plenty of content to be seen on this car in the future. Because like right now, Bluetooth front suspension, yay. I do have the beginnings there of a cross member. So yeah, that's just a quick overview. And at some point I will take more detailed videos and show some pictures of some of the fabrication process and some later videos to kind of update everyone on how the car got to where it is. Well, that's it for now. Look for more videos on this in the future. It's MG Rob. Later.